with Years of Years, and it's This Week in Disney. That's right, This Week in Disney. I know a lot of you out there are This Day in Disney fans, and we are starting a whole new show, which is This Week in Disney instead. And so every week we will be producing and sharing with you all the things that are happening or have happened in Disney history, and that way you have time to go and celebrate these things, and you get a heads up of what's coming in Disney history, and you can enjoy and know the things that you love about Disney and make some plans. To start off, we are going to be talking about an individual who I'm so impressed with, so many people are impressed with, and has actually left the Disney company, but that's okay because he's 65 years old, so I think he has the right to make some big changes in his life. But this week, September 10th, in 1955, Joseph Joe Rohde was born in Sacramento, California. So, of course, he was an executive of Disney Imagineering and really responsible for one of our family's favorite parks, Animal Kingdom, and so much more. So we're going to get into that. But he is often referred to the rock star of Imagineering, which makes a lot of sense. One of the reasons I really love Joe Rohde is because to me, he's a groundbreaker. He's not afraid. He tried and did so many things that other people weren't willing to do. In fact, Animal Kingdom was a concept that a lot of Imagineers were just not interested in, and it was something that, you know, Walt wanted. He wanted live animals in the park at Disneyland, and it was something that Joe Rohde saw the vision for and could see how to make it work, how to make it successful, and boy, did he do a great job and continued to do a great job for the Disney company. So like I said, he was born in Sacramento, California. He was raised in Hawaii, so that'll come up a little bit later, and then back to California, and he graduated from Chaminade College Preparatory as a salutatorian, so really did fantastic. And then he actually went and got his fine arts degree at Occidental College in Los Angeles. So after that, he was a teacher and teaching, and one of his students was an Imagineer, and kind of the transition to the Disney company was from one of his students while he was a teacher who, you know, I think it was maybe, I'm not sure which it is, the student or the student's father who worked at Disney and was like, you need to be an Imagineer. And he was like, okay. So, you know, they saw his talent, his artistic talent, and, you know, really felt that he needed to come over and be an Imagineer and move on from teaching. His mom was a teacher though, so that's pretty cool. So, but let's talk about his Disney career. It's so fantastic. So the biggest one over to begin with, he went over to Epcot, and that wonderful Epcot pavilion and the Aztec temple there, that's, you know, his design. And so when you look at that, I mean, it's one of the hot dog or weenies or whatever, you know, so it's iconic, and you can see it from far away. So it draws people, and it particularly draws people going that way when you're traveling through all the countries. And so, you know, it's impressive, and he did a fantastic job with it. And after that, they were so impressed that they sent him back to Disneyland, and he was responsible for redoing the Fantasyland over at Disneyland. So that became a new Fantasyland. And so his talent, again, really impressive. So they sent him back to Epcot, or he went back, and he started working on the Norway Pavilion. But then what's really cool, and maybe a lot of you don't know, is that he actually worked on Captain EO, which I just think that's the coolest thing, because so, you know, up until that point, he was working with, you know, more like large scale set design and fantasy, you know, so designing in that way. And then here you have this first interactive film over at any, you know, park, and with Michael Jackson and working with George Lucas. So this was really exciting, I think really exciting information to know that he had a big part in Captain EO. So that's really, really awesome. But then toward the mid-1980s is when this concept for Animal Kingdom really started going around. And like I said, a lot of Imagineers didn't want to do it, but he wanted to. He was asking for it, and really trying to get the CEO at the time, Michael Eisner, to move forward on Animal Kingdom. And you know, the story of then I've talked about the tiger that he brought in to have that personal, in-person experience, a Bengal tiger. And you know, so this Michael Eisner and the other CEO and executives could see that his vision was different, and that having a tiger in the room is totally different than being at a zoo, and that people were going to have an in-person experience with animals in a new way. And you know, they saw it. It was impressive, and they were able to get on board. And it took a while. It took quite some time before they were actually to start constructing or get the park done. But it's just so impressive. And he brought in so many people that worked with animals and understood how to really make things good for animals, instead of just like a zoo situation. The animals at Animal Kingdom are in, and I've talked about this before, you know, they're in a very safe, clean, and spaced environment, so that it's very similar to what they'd experience in their own habitat, and something that we are just, you know, visiting. We're not interfering. We're part of their, come in and see their life. And I think that's so fantastic. But there's just so much more to Animal Kingdom than the animals. I mean, all of the lands that are there are so authentic and so well done, and all the time that was taken. Joe Rohde is a big believer in making things the very best. And something that I learned was that when you go to Everest, those are not copies. There's actually 8,000 authentic items at Everest. And so when you're walking through that queue, that is an authentic experience. Those are things, I mean, it's like you're really in Nepal or China or Tibet, because that's the three countries they took those things from. And it's so wonderful. I actually when I was growing up, we got to live in Asia for a time, and I visited many countries, and I so miss getting to live in foreign countries. But then when I go to Animal Kingdom, I feel that foreign experience, and like I'm in another country and immersed. And that's definitely what he accomplished with all the people. It's not just him, of course. He was leading people who had the same vision and were able to express that. So, you know, full circle, I told you he grew up in Hawaii, and he actually, after Animal Kingdom, he went and worked on Alani. So they started that in 2000, or was announced in 2007, and he worked with the people of Hawaii and made that experience really authentic as well, making sure that they respected the land, respected the people and their culture. So when you go to Alani, you're having a very sacred experience in some ways, and you can find that when you're there. And not that I've been there, I'd love to go, but reading up on the things that he did and the people that he worked with, there's some really special stories about that. So, you know, after Lonnie, then we got an addition to Animal Kingdom, which was of course Pandora. And anyone who's been there knows how incredible that land is, and all the effort and time that was put in and thought that was put into making it flow with the rest of the park. It just works, and it's so impressive. And Flight of Passage, amazing, but so is Navi River Journey. Both rides just really, really impressive and authentic to a film, which is kind of cool because before that the park was more based on, you know, countries and nature and so forth, but then now he's working with, you know, an actual film and immersing you in that experience, and he did fantastic. And so maybe some of you don't know, I didn't realize this, but he actually headed up and worked on changing the Tower of Terror over at Disneyland into the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. So, haven't been on that ride yet. Maybe some of you guys have. Tell me about it if you like it. But, you know, I've seen the POVs for it. It's really impressive as well. So now, what has he done? He's retired from Disney. He retired from the company, and then recently announced that he was going to be working for Virgin. Let me make sure. Virgin Galactic. And I have no idea what all that means, honestly, but it's exciting. And I have, you know, just what Virgin Galactic is doing. I think they're going to be doing trips up into space, and I'm not long term, but into being able to orbit, I believe, the Earth or something like that. And he's going to be involved in the, you know, maybe the interior of the experience. I have no idea. It's really exciting to think that this Imagineer who did so much for Disney is now working on something that will take us to space. So we'll have to look forward to that. I've read through the information. I'm not super scientific, but if you know more, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Virgin Galactic is doing, and maybe if you've found information about Joe Rohde's role in that. So that is Joe Rohde, and you can celebrate his birthday this week on September 10th. I'd highly recommend, if you don't already, to go follow his Instagram account. It's very interesting, very informative. You're gonna learn something if you follow his posts, for sure. I really enjoy it. So go check out his Instagram and give him a happy birthday on September 10th, for sure. But next, this segment of This Week in Disney, we're going to talk about what's going on, just all the little things that are happening. So some of the things that you can watch or celebrate or know about that happened this week. So like I said, this is September 6th through September 12th. And starting out on September 7th, the SillySymphony cartoon El Toreador, directed by Walt Disney, is featured, and it has the music of Carl Stalling. So I definitely encourage you to go check that out, because, you know, when they bring someone in like Carl Stalling, it takes the cartoon to the next level. So that was back in 1929, and then in 1945, the Disney short No Sail, directed by Jack Hanna, is released. So this is a Goofy and Donald Duck. They go sailing, and the coin operator on the boat that they rented stops working, and there's sharks. So really fun. I think you guys should check it out if you haven't seen that one already. Then on September 9th in 1938, the Disney short Mickey's Parrot, and we've talked about this one before, but it's Bill Roberts and Les Clark directing, and this is a talking parrot wandering through Mickey's house while Mickey is thinking that they're being tracked and by an escaped criminal. So it's a huge twist, and he's not sure what's going on, and it's got a talking parrot and that whole criminal mystery thing. So this is a fun cartoon too. So back in 2013, now this one you could celebrate by maybe getting a reservation, but it's already been, oh my goodness, it's been almost, well, not quite, but getting close to 10 years, about 9 years ago, the California Grill opened. So of course this restaurant had been, open since, it's the restaurant at the top of the Contemporary. So it's been open since the Contemporary, and it had gone through some changes, but back in 2013, we got the California Grill with all its amazing food and the beautiful view. They changed a lot. They made the windows so that I think the sun doesn't come in as bright or whatnot, and they put some, higher quality windows. All that stuff was done. But what's really cool is they use the Mary Blair designs in there. So it ties in with that beautiful mural downstairs and everything. So if you haven't been, we went on our 25th wedding anniversary, Brad and I did, and it was phenomenal. I do want to get back, even if it's just to order some appetizers, just to be up there. It's wonderful. Okay, and then back September 10th, back in 1983, the very first Night of Joy ever takes place at the Magic Kingdom, so over at Walt Disney World. So this became an annual Christian music, contemporary Christian music event, and it was one of only 2 Christian rock festivals in the Orlando area. I believe the other one was at Universal. So I'm not sure. I know the Universal one kept going. I think the Disney one stopped, but we'll see if the Universal's continues. They're not doing as many big music things, so it's hard to tell what's going to start again or not. But there was still some of these bands over at Epcot during Food and Wine in 2019. So we'll see what they do, but Nights of Joy went on for many years, and it started back in 1983 on September 10th. And then on September 10th in 2009, Walt Disney Company President and CEO Bob Iger launched the first ever D23. So D23 members and fans, back in 2009, that's when it started, which has been fantastic and so fun. And then also at the Expo that same year, Walt Disney Home Entertainment announced the Diamond Collection, and this is when they started going through Snow White and all the films and making them Blu-ray high definition. And when you're watching even Disney Plus right now, I mean, sometimes it's just like, wow, so many of these films just look so good, and they're doing a great job of keeping them updated, keeping them looking beautiful, and I'm really grateful for that, because how many times can we watch Snow White or Lady and the Tramp? I don't know, I've seen them so many times, but anyway, hopefully, I know they'll keep updating as technology, who knows what's in the future, people putting on all the headsets, and so I know they'll keep updating those films so that we can enjoy them in all future technologies. So September 11th, back in 1968, the United States Postal Service pays tribute to Walt Disney with the release of a commemorative 6-cent stamp, which is issued only 2 years after he had passed away. So the stamp features a portrait of Walt with children all over the world emerging from the Sleeping Beauty castle in the background. So we did a video, a This Day in Disney video with Brad, and talked about this stamp, and he actually has this stamp, and there were these they took envelopes and put the stamp on the envelope, and he's pretty sure, and it went to Marceline and back, and so he's pretty sure he has one of those particular stamp and envelopes, which is so fantastic. His grandfather was an avid stamp collector, so he got into that as well when he was younger, got to experience it with his grandfather. So really fun, really cool, and the stamp is awesome, and I know many of you have this stamp or have talked about it, but go check it out. And that was on September 11th. And then September 12th. So we're at the end of the week, and of course, we have back in 1936, just one more cartoon for you guys to check out, the Disney animated short, Donald and Pluto, directed by Ben Sharpstein. So Donald is a plumber dealing with an unusual leak, and the real fun comes when Pluto actually swallows one of Donald's tools, which has a magnet in it. So as you can imagine, that's gonna be really funny. So go check out that. One last one, also full circle with everything that we talked about, on September 12th still, back in 1986, Captain EO, the 3D 7mm sci-fi fantasy, opens over at Epcot. Now this was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and like I said, produced by George Lucas, who we talked about earlier, and of course Joe Rohde worked on this. And the movie, of course, tells the story of Michael Jackson and his ragtag crew of space travelers. And it's a 7-minute film, and it cost an estimated of $30 million, which was at the time the most expensive film ever produced per minute. So, but if you think about it, I mean, those seats and the music, everything, and Michael Jackson, it was so fantastic. Something our family really, really loved, and we do miss. Fine, if you want to bring it back, we don't have a problem with that. That would be awesome. But you could celebrate Captain EO today, dress up, go watch it on YouTube, and just remember the awesomeness of Captain EO over at Epcot. So fantastic. So that's everything that's happening. Well, it's not everything. So I'm not going to talk about all the things that are happening, because there's all sorts of little things. But I'm going to share some of the things with you that I think you'd enjoy, the bigger things and the things that, you know, you could go celebrate and commemorate in your own fun Disney way, because we all love to do that and have our parties and stuff, especially when we can't get to the parks. We can make our own Disney fun at home, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this week in Disney. I'm really looking forward to your comments and what you guys think. And you know, it's a whole new show, and you know, I'm excited to start this adventure with you.